completed what in these politically correct times is known as the holiday season, and so I have a few reflections on this time of year. It's a season that brings out the best and the worst in people. It's a time of year when there's much gift giving, much of it being reciprocal, but you also see a lot of people digging into their pockets to give to those who don't have so much. They'll be buying warm weather clothing for the homeless, toys for kids who, for one reason or another, don't have them. They'll be putting money into the kettles that the Salvation Army puts out. I'm sure you've all seen them when you went to places such as the supermarket and shopping malls. Generally, people are happier, and as I said, it really brings out the best in people. But my comments more relate to those that it seems to bring out the worst in them. There can be many reasons. I don't pretend to delve into their minds as to the hows and the whys, just the observations of what I have seen. Obviously, everyone knows well in advance that the season is approaching, but there always seems to be those who leave the gift purchasing to the last minute, so they're totally rushed off their feet. Stores will open earlier, stay open later to accommodate all this, and that's totally understandable. But I've never understood the parents who will drag screaming children around the stores at 10, 11 o'clock at night, a time when everyone knows that children should be in bed asleep. The screaming, of course, adds the aggravation of the parents, who then take it out on the children, who will scream even more. In their rush, there's always something forgotten, or they pretend they just don't have the time. Normally, throughout the year, you can just walk up to a cash register, the cashier will ring you up, put your purchases in the bag, wish you a nice day, and you're on your way. But this time of the year, they have to set up rope barriers, guide people through them. There's always someone who just doesn't have the time to wait. They're either shouting over the heads of everyone else to get a move on, telling the cashiers they should be working faster, or they just ignore the barriers completely, cut in line, and when it's pointed out to them that there is a line, act as if lines don't apply to them. They're special, they should be rung up immediately. The supermarkets aren't any different in this respect. They'll have all the registers going full speed, but there's just someone who decides that even though they have a shopping cart full of produce, they're going to go through the 15 items or less item line. I'm sure you've probably been stuck behind them sometimes. Sometimes the cashiers will have the guts to tell them to get out of the line and get into the appropriate line. Other times they leave a group of frustrated shoppers behind them, people who perhaps have just one or two items, whilst they wait for these 50 or 60 items to be rung up. Again, I wish someone would take control of this situation, perhaps from management, but also asking people to look into themselves and ask themselves why they can't be more considerate. It's also a time when roads get chock-a-block around shopping centres. Again, most people wait their turn patiently, but there's always someone who thinks that if he puts his hand hard down on the horn, it will suddenly make everything go quicker. Well, perhaps if it lets them vent their frustrations, but honestly it doesn't solve any of the problems, probably aggravates it even more. It's also a time of year when there's office parties, private parties, and naturally alcohol consumption increases, and people suddenly seem to forget that perhaps if they don't respond as quickly as normal as a result of the alcohol, they shouldn't be driving. Public transportation makes a big deal about it, that you can ride free. Some taxi companies, for additional publicity, will give special reduced rates to get people home, but not enough people seem to take advantage of it, because sadly every year we hear about people being killed as a result of these road accidents. So basically, in summary, although it can be a very joyous time of year, it only takes a few people in each of these different situations to ruin it for everyone else. So my general appeal would be, now that we have about 11 months to think about it, just think about it yourself and how you're going to act next year. Are you going to stand in line patiently with everyone else? Are you going to have the required number of items in the checkout line? And are you going to be careful with your alcohol consumption, or at least if you're driving? Another little factor to consider is something that I have mentioned before, that anyone who is feeling angry and frustrated, there's something really strange in the body chemistry, that a quick stretch and a big smile suddenly alters the body chemistry and will actually make you feel better, more relaxed, and more able to genuinely join in with the festivities of the season.